everybody. Happy Wednesday. It is a beautiful sunny state of California. And what is the temperature in your state right now? So if you kindly put that in the comment for me, let me know where you're watching this from. I would love to hear from you. If you are joining me live today on Facebook and LinkedIn, go ahead and drop me a blue heart. And if you are watching this as a replay, I would love for you to give me a little purple heart to let me know that you are here and that you're supporting this podcast and this live coffee talk. I am Michelle Quay. I am a visibility and content strategist. I help women coaches to create their content, to tell their story so that they can get seen, get heard, and get hired. I am so thrilled today because this is a topic that is dear to my heart, and that is the topic of resiliency. And when it comes to resiliency, I believe it comes in many different ways, in many different formats in our lives. So perhaps right now you are feeling some type of energy block that's stopping you from shining. Then hopefully after hearing today's episode, you are going to get out there and start working on creating your goal and creating your dream. So welcome to the show. I am excited today because I have my friend and motivational, inspirational speaker, Roni Sasaki. She was born only with one leg. Yeah. Now, those of you who have two legs, you might imagine, sometimes we go far, but you get tired. Now, imagine you just have one leg. Or if you're like me, I have four legs, two legs plus two crutches. But that's okay because we're all the same. Her greatest struggle as a youngster was learning to love and accept herself for being different. Roni harbored a secret desire to become an Olympic athlete, and after various attempts at sports, become a one-leg skier on the U.S. disabled ski team. And in 1992, she won the gold medal and 2 bronze medals at Paralympics, and that was held in France. I don't want to take too much of its time because you got to hear her story. So I'm going to bring her onto the stage so that you can hear directly from her amazing and inspirational story and how she's shining lights as a podcast host and bringing more joy to more people. Hi, Roni.
Hey, Michelle.
It's so good to have you here. When I heard your story, when we first connected, I was so inspired. I went to your website. And it was just so amazing. And you are such an amazing speaker. I watch your speaker reel and I watched a couple of your, keynote speaking, and I just admire you so much.
Oh, thank you. I feel the same way about you. So it is an honor to be here today and just chat with you for a little bit.
Yeah. And I would love to hear more about what was it like growing up, just having one leg. I know we talked about it, but I know the most audience, they don't.
Yeah, well, here's the deal. I knew I was different, but I also knew I was just a kid. So I did a lot of normal kid things that anybody would do. I just generally did them differently. I ran funny. I walked funny. When I wasn't wearing my leg, I used crutches like you, and I was really good at crutches. But I always knew I was different, and I always kind of felt like I had to prove to the other kids that I could do everything that they could do. And I didn't necessarily always accomplish that because there were many things that just didn't work out quite the same way. I didn't run as fast. I didn't move quite as smoothly. And I certainly looked differently, and I could take my leg off and nobody else could do that. So I always felt, again, like I had to prove everything. Wanted to be good at sports, wanted to be popular, and felt that I was the oddball, the weirdo, if you will, the kid that was different, the kid that got stared at a lot and made fun of sometimes, teased. And I didn't like that. I really just wanted to be normal and wanted to be like all the other kids. And yet I knew I wasn't quite like them.
Well, I can tell you that your personality is definitely not like others. You have that bright and positive attitude. And, for a lot of people that, having lost their leg or something that happened in their life, whether it's divorce or tragic that had happened, we get really tied to, what we don't have and not recognizing what we have. At what point in your life did you realize that you were different? Because obviously when you were growing up, it was just like, okay, so maybe this is how all the other kids look like. But so at what point did you realize that you were different?
Well, when I was 6 years old, see, I was born with a birth defect, or they don't call it a birth defect anymore. That's not politically correct. I was born with limb difference. I think that's right, which just cracks me up when I say that. My right leg, I was missing the middle of my leg with what's called PFFD. I think it's proximal femoral focal deficiency, which means I was missing the middle of my leg, but I had my leg from the knee down, but it was attached at the hip. So I had a foot, but the foot was kind of at the level of where my knees should be. And they decided when I was 6 to amputate the foot so that I could fit into an artificial leg better. And it would look better and it make my life easier walking in the long run. And so that's what they chose to do. So I spent quite a bit of time in the summer between kindergarten and first grade in the hospital undergoing this surgery. So I started school then on crutches. So all the kids that pretty much already knew I had one leg, now it was very visibly evident to them because I wasn't wearing a prosthetic leg and I was on crutches. And so that was kind of a big eye opener. And this was one of the things that once they amputated that foot, my leg is shaped kind of funny. It's fat at the top and it gets really skinny where the shin bone would be. And now there was no longer a foot there, but they left the ankle. So it was like a little ball on the end. So I remember the first time I showed my little leg, which is what I call it, to a kid in the neighborhood, he called it a chicken drumstick. And I cried. I ran in the house and cried. But then I unwrapped the leg and looked at it and realized that he was right. It looked just like a chicken drumstick. And so that's kind of been my nickname for my little leg as well. It's chicken drumstick. So these were just little hints all along the way that I was definitely different. I knew that, and got teased. Kids called me peg leg. I remember in third grade getting pushed and spit on and made fun of, and that's not to say my whole childhood was like that, but those times definitely were embedded on my memory, and it kind of convinced me as a youngster that this leg is going to ruin my life. I mean, it's going to keep me from doing what I want to do and accomplishing what I want to accomplish. It's just, I've been, I guess, cursed almost. Cursed by having one leg. Well, out of all the kids in the world, how come I am the one that was born missing a leg? Yeah. That's what I asked myself.
What did you want to be when you're growing up? Like, because you brought up a good point. There's a lot of our dreams and hope. What did you want to do had it not been just this one leg, the chicken drum?
Well, I really wanted to be athletic. I wanted to be good at sports because we lived in a house that there was a field and the kids were always playing football and whatnot in the field and moving. And my brother was very tall and he was good at basketball. And I wondered what I could be good at in sports. Plus, I have to tell you, the popular kids in my school were those who were the good athletes. And I wanted to be popular. Do I dare admit that? Seems kind of shallow now looking back. But I thought if I can just be good at a sport, if I can prove that I can be as good as they are at something, then maybe I'll be popular like all the other kids. Yeah. And so
what did you have to do to get that?
Well, I tried a lot of different things. I remember I played volleyball. I was a really good bench warmer. And my senior year, I played volleyball on one leg because I thought that would be a really cool idea. And I'd had a surgery that I couldn't quite move quickly enough, I felt, with wearing my prosthetic leg. So I was really good at freaking out the other team because I'd hop out onto the court on one leg and they go, oh my goodness, she's only playing on one leg. And then they would lose their concentration and we'd get the ball back and I'd be yanked out of the game and put back on the bench. I tried a little short stint at basketball. That was really hysterical because I can't run very fast. And then I wanted to do gymnastics. I wanted to be a cheerleader, all these different things that I wanted to try to do. I would go out jogging and people would pull over. Even now to this day, if I go out walking for exercise, people will pull over and ask me if I need a ride. Like, do I look like I need a ride? And they're, well, yeah, you do. So all these different attempts to do different things and nothing seemed to really work. It gave me a lot of experience. And then one day I received a phone call from a woman who asked me if I wanted to learn how to ski. I had never thought of myself as a skier. Not to say I hadn't wanted to learn to ski, because I love snow. I love the mountains. My family actually snowmobiled. So I had warm clothing. I thought, well, all I got to do is put on my warm clothes and I can get up to the mountain. Maybe I can learn how to ski on one ski. I'd seen some one-legged skiers on television. So I thought maybe I could do this. She also had one leg. And so she says, well, let's head up to the mountain. I'll teach you how to ski. But the biggest reason I wanted to learn how to ski was because I wanted a lift ticket. Because all the popular kids in my school had lift tickets hanging from their jackets. Because they wanted everybody to know that they were skiers. And we had a ski club, and they would wear their jackets on Fridays during the winter, which was the ski club day. And those lift tickets would just be dangling away on their zipper. And so that's how everybody knew the skiers and the popular kids in my school. Yay, I'm going to get a lift ticket. I was so excited for that.
It's a little thing that makes us happy and have the joy, right? Remembering, oh yeah, I can be among the popular kids now because I have a lift ticket.
Yeah. I used to watch the Olympics, and I dreamed of being an Olympic athlete, as you said in my introduction. But the sports that I always dreamed of doing was like figure skating or gymnastics, all these really what I call the pretty sports. And I'd never watched ski racing. I wanted to learn to ski, but I never had this desire to be a ski racer, nor even thought about that. But I get up to the mountain with Jan. Believe me, we weren't talking about ski racing on the first day. She said to me, right after I asked her, when do I get my lift ticket? She stopped. She looked at me. She says, Roni, you're not going to get a lift ticket today. And I was like, are you kidding me? I mean, that's why I'm here. I mean, come on. How am I going to show my face at school on Monday if I don't have a lift ticket? She says, no, you're not going to get a lift ticket today because I don't think you're going to be able to make it up the chairlift. I had visions of putting on the ski and just zooming down the hill. And she says, no, it's not going to be quite like that for you. She says, the first thing we're going to do is learn how to fall. And I said, I don't think you know who you're talking to here. I am an expert at falling. I've been doing it my whole life. She says, this is different. In skiing, there's a few reasons why you must learn how to fall. She says, the first thing is you have to learn how to fall safely so that you won't get hurt when you do fall, because you are going to fall. She assured me that was going to happen. And she says, and then if you know that you're not going to get hurt when you fall, you'll be able to ski with more confidence, because when the inevitable fall does occur, you'll be comfortable with it. And she says, and then the other reason why you need to learn how to fall is because you got to figure out how to get back up. You got to strengthen your get back up muscles. And I don't think she used those words, but that's what I have said, because I'll tell you something. I didn't have very strong get back up muscles back in those days, because I remember by the end of that first day, I was glad she had taught me how to fall. Number one, it was the only thing I perfected all day. All I did all day was get up and fall down and get up and fall down. And I was so tired that the effort of getting back up off the snow was just this paramount effort and physicality, I guess, to get back up. So I knew that I had to work on strengthening my get up muscles, which, we talk about resilience. I think that's probably I'll zoom ahead and give a little hint. Hey, that's a hint. Good clue to resilience is strengthening your get up muscles.
I think it's very interesting how she had taught you to learn how to fall first before you actually think about where's my lift ticket, right? That's great.
Yes.
That's the reward that you get from falling. But how do you actually get up and be open to fail, to fall? And I think, thinking back, what comes up to my mind is that there's a moment where I had to learn box jump. Like my trainer was training me to do box jump in order to strengthen the leg. And I remember when I fall a couple of times, there's that fear that start kicking in, right? So yes, we want to be open to fall, but how did you overcome that fear in between the fall?
Well, I think that's where practice comes in, really. Practice and repetition of just doing it over and over and over again. Furthermore, I think that there's some acceptance of, okay, how do I put this into words? I'm a speaker. I'm supposed to be able to put things into words. When a person is learning something new, I think there's a couple of fears involved. There's the fear of a failure of not getting it. And then there's the fear of looking really foolish while not getting it. And I think these come into play almost in everything new that we try is, oh my goodness, what if I can't do it? What if I fail? And then what if somebody sees me and I'm going to look ridiculous? I don't care what it is, whether you think I'm going to sing. And so now I got to sing. And what if I look foolish? There's the fear of doing something that we want to do, that we want to learn, but not being good at it at first, but being willing to continue to persist. My mother always taught me that, is learn to look good looking bad. So learn to be okay with looking bad at first. And so maybe that was the key to the falling thing, because if you fall right off the bat, then right off the bat, you get that out of your system. You get it off the table as, okay, now I'm good at that. I do that. I feel comfortable doing that. I already look foolish. So, let's work on the in-between now and get that better. Yeah. I don't know. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, it does. What comes out for me is the word, what's it called? Oh my gosh, you just slipped my mind. And I'm a speaker. So doesn't mean that we stumble upon our own words and thoughts, right? There's a saying that goes something about like you have to be if you're not making any mistakes and you're not doing things right.
Okay. Yeah, totally.
Right. And so if you're not falling, that means that you're not doing it correctly. You're not exercising to strengthen that get back muscle. So how do you actually recognize that you got the get back muscle? What is the get back muscles?
Well, for skiing, I mean, we put it that way. It is the ability to get back up easily. And obviously, the more that I practiced and learned how to ski, the less I fell. Mm-hmm. So the less I needed to be able to get back up. By the time the muscles got strong enough that it was easy to get up, it's this weird thing. It was like all of a sudden I didn't need them quite as much as before, because I had strengthened other skills and other muscles that reduce the need for those get up muscles. And so I think that's really key to learning something new. And I don't know, the other thing is, I guess, equating that falling really isn't failure. And that's a shift in the belief. And I'm using falling as a metaphor here, because clearly it's something that does happen in many activities that we do in life, physical, and skiing is just one of those things. I mean, sometimes you're going to fall when you're skiing. I don't care how good of a skier you are, you're going to fall sometimes when you're skiing. But it's a metaphor for some of the other things that we do in life, that we often think that if this happens, then I'm a failure, or I have failed. And that's the belief that I think if we can shift that, then resilience becomes such maybe a quicker possibility. Maybe it'll happen years from now. Like years from now, you look back and you say, wow, I can see how that really led up to where I am now. But what if in the midst of that, you're laying on the ground, struggling to get back up, you realize that this is what it's all about, is getting up off the ground, that I don't have to wait years and look back, that I can see that this is the key important element into the whole process that is going to get me where I want to be. Mm-hmm. And notice it in that moment and say it's not failing, it's just part of the process.
Yeah. I think part of your bio also had a keyword about accepting. And I think, I'm wondering, what is your definition of acceptance?
Well, people have often told me that I'll equate the word acceptance sometimes to overcoming. And I don't think they're necessarily the same word, but people will say to me, oh, you're such an overcomer, as if I've like somehow conquered something. And I don't necessarily see it that way. Number one, I see my leg as being just who I am, part of who I am. And it's kind of made me into the person that I am. And that's where I think this whole acceptance level, it actually takes overcoming to a new level. It's subtle, and I can't think of a word picture to use to describe it. But rather than overcoming, rather than conquering having one leg, it just becomes this beautiful picture, beautiful part of the painting of my life. Mm-hmm. And to me, that acceptance is is key, because I'm not always in a battle against it, right? I'm not always fighting against it. Like you would think of if you're overcoming something that you got to conquer it. Well, acceptance is accepting it in, and it becomes a part of the picture.
Yeah. Acceptance feels more like lightweight. It almost felt like sometimes I describe it as, you're dropping the huge weight on your shoulder and just
Yeah.
feel lighter. Whereas overcoming, it really feels like you have to fight through in order to accomplish something. And it sounds like it was fighting through the difference that other people seeing you, how they see you. You walk funny, you have a prosthetic, and the fact that you are, even when you become, as winning the gold medal, I'm sure a lot of people still see you quite differently. Did you get that feeling?
Yeah, people will always say things like, "Oh, shucks, gee, that's so cool that you do that. You're such a hero, or you're so brave, or, I have 2 legs and I don't even know how to ski, or I can't even ski." And I'm like, well, how often do you practice? Never. Well, then, just because you have 2 legs doesn't automatically allow you to become a really good skier. You still have to work at it. And it's just this kind of a little bit of a condescending attitude, just a little bit.
Yeah.
Meant in all good intention, right? People say things like that and they totally mean to be offering us compliment and support and all that. And I kind of think, sometimes I think just because I have 1 leg that it's like a miracle that I got out of bed this morning and got ready to go and do something with my life. It's like,
And you're gonna go back to that being normal, right? Can you just see
yeah,
me as being a normal individual? I'm just like you.
yeah.
You want a gold medal with your 2 legs for something else, but I want a gold medal, and that's all.
Yeah, being an athlete, training really hard, working really hard, being dedicated for years, committed to an outcome.
Yeah.
And that, wasn't, it was important to me, I guess is what I'm trying to say. It was important to me. So it was something I became dedicated to, 1-legged or no legs. And, and 1992 was a long time ago. And I love that we're coming up on the Beijing Olympics and then the Paralympics that will follow, because a lot of time has passed and progress has been made in people's viewpoint of athletes with disabilities. Nowadays, being, I think, really respected more than they were back in 1992, although they were still respected then, but even more so now as athletes. Not just a person with a disability, but an actual committed, professional, awesome, incredible athlete.
Yeah. And very talented too. I mean, there's that physical differences, but like in reality, it's really about what you're passionate about and what you speak on. It just absolutely apply to everyone in every situation.
Yeah.
So Roni, what are you passionate about nowadays?
Oh, wow. Nowadays, well, I have 3 grown children that have moved out. I love being an empty nester, but I've gone back to school to get my master's degree, and I have my own business. I still ski for fun, and I write. I have a book that I've written, and I'm working on other books, and I host a podcast where you and I met. It's where I interview highly successful individuals who have disabilities, and I love that. I love meeting the people through that. Speaking, I just spoke at a women's retreat a few weeks ago. So, I'm excited about a lot of things.
How much do you think your resilient muscle actually apply to your experience now as entrepreneur, as business owner, as an empty nester? Like, how much of that have you been applying into your current situation?
Well, coming out of COVID as a speaker, I think resiliency has been a really key, because, events and gatherings, they're almost a thing of the past. I think they're starting to pick up again a little bit, but certainly I think anybody in any kind of a business situation, no, that's not true. Anybody in life right now has had to deal with resiliency the last 2 years. That goes without saying. From the way we live life has changed. The way we interact with people has changed. So it's all of us have practiced resiliency at some level just to live out our normal life, right? That's pretty true. As for me personally, yeah, learning. I'm 57 years old now, and I'm watching I call them kids that are in the disabled skiing now, or they don't even call it that anymore. I'm dating myself using that word disabled because now it's adaptive. And I like the word adaptive better because adaptive kind of gives you this idea of what's possible, whereas disabled kind of gives you more of an idea of what's limiting. So I'm all on board, even though the word disabled doesn't bother me. I'm watching these guys get ready for the Olympics coming up, the Paralympics coming up. And part of me is like, oh, I miss those days. I miss that life. I miss training. And so I feel kind of old and I feel kind of like a has-been. So when I think about resiliency and how it fits into my life right now, it's like, okay, I'm done ski racing. I love to ski for fun, but I'm slow and I'll call it graceful out there in the snow. I'm not going to win any races, nor am I going to even qualify for any races. So I get to focus on those things that I'm passionate now and not focus on what's past, but what's coming up next. And speaking at women's retreats, nurturing the podcast, meeting the guests, growing my business. These are all things I'm very passionate about that I daily run into obstacles. And I get to look at those obstacles as stepping stones. Okay, roadblock just seems to be put up in front of me. Now I get to see if that is a stepping stone to what's coming up next.
That's beautiful. It's a beautiful way of accepting the situation and almost feels like adapting to what has been and what is now and what is possible in the future.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I know you brought a gift for our audience. It's something called resilience roadmap. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Well, it's just simply a visual tool that you can download off of my website. And it's got some of the keys to resiliency. And then on the other side, it's got power words. I love words. I love focusing on the words that we use and the impact that they have on this thing between our ears, our brains, because we're always talking to ourselves, right? So what if we change our words and start to use really powerful words that are going to impact the way that we think and the way that we see things? And so that's what this resilience roadmap is. And I've laid it out as a map. Again, it's a visual tool that you can use to start incorporating more powerful words into your inner vocabulary that can impact your life today. I know, another famous speaker talks a lot about your body, change your body, and that can change your state of mind. And I think that's really crucial. But I also love this idea of immediately being able to change our words, which can change our state and then ultimately change our belief system. Because if you can believe that having one leg as a kid, I believe that was a curse. Now I believe it's a blessing. What is that? How does that change? It changes everything. It changes everything. And it makes such an impact on how I know for me, how I have gone through life and welcomed in all of these beautiful things that have happened because of my leg.
Yeah. You brought up the word word. So I'm curious about what is your word of the year? Or what is your word?
You know what? You're not the first person that's asked me this, and I have been working on it. This is February 2nd, right? So we've had a whole month. And I've been playing with a few words, and I still haven't come up with one yet. I'm thinking of dynamic, but part of me is more thinking of slow down. I don't know. There's a big difference. Maybe not. So I haven't zoomed in on my word yet.
Yeah, I love the word behind you, inspire.
Yes.
And I think when we were connecting, I also asked, what is your definition of bravery? And the definition that you have given me was bravery is having the courage and gumption to do the hard things.
Yeah, and we get to define what's hard, right? I mean, that's another thing. What's hard? Do I even want to use that word hard? I don't know. Maybe it's something that could be replaced with a better word.
Inspired. So that we can be inspired to do things.
Maybe the hard stuff is just the stuff I really want to do, but I'm afraid that I'm going to look bad when I first try it. Maybe that's the hard stuff. I don't know.
And that's where the
everybody.
opportunity. There's where the opportunity of get back muscle.
Yeah. Get up. Strengthen your get up muscles. And
there we go. Where can people find you?
I have a website. That's probably one of the best ways to find me. It's Roni, RONI Sasaki. You can see my name there. It's SASAKI.com, RoniSasaki.com. And I'm on Facebook as well. Roni Sasaki International Speaker is my speaking page on Facebook. So those are just a couple great places to find me.
And you're also
my
on
podcast
LinkedIn.
link is on my website as well.
Yeah.
And it's also on iTunes. It's called A Leg Up on Life. And so you can find it on really all of the major podcast platforms, but it is available through my website too.
Love it. Love it. And you can check out our episode on her podcast.
Yes. It was just like 2 episodes ago.
Yeah. Yeah. I had a good time. Any last advice or tips that you would like to share with the audience?
I think that everybody, I'm going to be really general here, has something about ourselves that we would change if we could. Something that we just think, if only this were different. And a lot of times it's physical and it's something that we can't change. So my best advice or challenge really for anybody watching this is to embrace that, to accept it, to love that thing that, or maybe even surrender to it is a good word. And see it rather than as something that's limiting or something that's holding you back, is something that is a catalyst that's launching you forward into the things that are really most important to you. Because again, for me, my leg, I truly believe that it was a gift that was given to me. I became a ski racer, not in spite of having one leg, but because of having one leg. I was a Paralympian because I had one leg. Many things that I've experienced since then are because of this beautiful gift that I've been given. And if you can change your belief system around that thing that you would change if you could, and make it that thing that is that gift that you've been given, it really will impact your life.
Seeing things from a curse to a blessing.
Yes.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Roni, for coming to the show. I had a great time. I wish I can talk to you like for a long, long time, because I know we have so many things to talk about. And I'm so excited for you in terms of your business and all these amazing, your podcast, your great things that's going on, that's happening in your life.
Oh, thank you, Michelle. I feel the same way about you. You've done some pretty incredible things as well. So
thank you.
We could talk for hours.
Yep, good.
Yeah, surround yourself with like-minded people. It's really important too.
Exactly. And again, you can find Roni at her website, and she's got all these links, including her podcast. And also you can grab her freebie resilience roadmap directly from her website. It's a PDF file, so you can just check it out. This is something that we can all practice our get up muscles.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Roni. I'm going to put you to the backstage so I can close out.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for watching this episode. Hopefully you are getting to get up and go out there to practice on your get up muscle like Roni did. So if you like to follow her, please check her website out at ronisasaki.com. And she have all these amazing things. And she's an amazing speaker, by the way. So just check out her speaker reel, check out her stuff. And if you like what I'm producing here, be sure to follow me, connect with me on LinkedIn, or coming to the group, the Visibility Lounge, where I help women coaches to create their content marketing. So if you want to hear more about what I do, also check out my website at elevatelifecoaching.org, and I would be happy to connect with you. And we will see you on the next show. Bye.